Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Linguistic Isle, where today I have the pleasure of speaking with me. Today, I thought it would be a great idea to talk about my book, The Johnny Cake Delivery, and speak about the official launch, which was held yesterday, May 2nd, 2026, in Colombier, St. Martin. So stay tuned, we're going to talk more. Hello, my name is Greta Rodney, and I am the author of The Johnny Cake Delivery. The Johnny Cake Delivery is a bilingual children's subtraction story. It is intended for children ages 3 to 8. The story is about a boy delivering or sharing Johnny cakes around the island of St. Martin with family and friends. You can find the book on lulu.com, that's LULU.com. Just search in the bookstore for The Johnny Cake Delivery. Thank you. Enjoy.
Everyone, please stand as you are able. Let us pray. God of creativity, we thank you that you are the God who blesses us with resources that we can use. We thank you for this opportunity that we can come together here to explore the creativity of your daughter Greta. And we thank you for your wisdom, your knowledge you bestowed upon her. As we gather, O God, we ask you to bless this time. We ask you to bless this endeavor. And through it, may we bring honor and glory to your name. We give you the highest praise. In Christ's name. Amen.
Studying topics, and especially languages. And she's also interested in the development of our local and cultural heritage. In her free time, she enjoys genealogy research for her family and writing poetry. She's married and the mother of 2 sons, Mateo and Mateus, here in custody. She shares some of her work on her social media accounts, such as The Linguistic Isle, where she discusses the development of language, how we use languages, how we learn languages. And I would like to now invite Ms. Greta Thompson to say a bit about her book and her journey.
Thank you so much for that warm welcome, Pat. Truly, truly appreciated. So, first of all, let me say good afternoon and thank you to everyone who is here this afternoon. I don't take it lightly that you came all this way just to show encouragement for this small but I think very important endeavor. So, and I must say it's very heartwarming for me to look at these people that I know from so many different areas of my life, family, friends, people I know from school, from church, people I've met along the way on this journey in writing this book. So I'm just going to share a little bit. I hope it's not too much. I was saying I didn't really know what I should share for the beginning, but I would like to ask you guys, can you remember your favorite childhood story? Take a minute and just think, what was your favorite childhood story or nursery rhyme? So maybe you might think of something like The Three Little Pigs, or if you grew up in the French system, singing Alouette. And when you think about it, you will realize that stories and poems are an integral part of a child's education. My goal as a teacher has been to question the role education plays in building identity and self-confidence in our children. And for me, it starts by allowing our children to see themselves in their story. Because I really realized that books are, I don't want to say they encourage children to learn a culture. And so whatever culture is dominant, they will learn that through stories. So this is why I would really like to impact education in St. Martin by expanding our children's literature catalog. So today I'm here to launch my first children's book, The Johnny Cake Delivery, and I'm going to share with you how I got to the process of writing this book. Who am I? As she already said, I'm Greta Ravi. I'm a teacher, I'm a writer, I'm a mother of those two people over there, Molly Lewis and George Thompson. I'm the third of 4 children, 3 girls and 1 boy. So the Johnny Cake Delivery is a project that helped me to find my niche in writing. So people always told me that I was good at writing, especially my mother. She said whenever I would get upset, I would go in my room and come back out with a poem. But for me, my poems were very simple. It was a way of expressing myself. I love rhyming poems. So one day I was in my classroom reading a story to my class about sea turtles. I turned to the back of the book to read about the author, and I realized that she was a teacher. In that moment, it made perfect sense to me. If this person is writing a book and she's a teacher, then why couldn't I, if I'm a teacher and I love to write, why can't I write a book for children as well too? And since I like simple poems and simple stories, I could write something for children. So that's the first step of the Johnny Cake Delivery. I knew right away I wanted to write something that felt authentic and unique to the St. Martin experience. I wanted a story that combined local elements, but the quality of the book to feel no less than you would pick up from your library shelf. So I started to think of childhood classics like Red Riding Hood. And I decided to look at it from the lens of being in St. Martin. So if little Red Riding Hood was delivering something to her grandmother, what might a child in St. Martin deliver? Johnny cakes, and that's how the concept of the Johnny Cake Delivery was born. So I turned on my teacher brain, and it allowed me to see that if they were giving Johnny cakes to people in the community, then this is subtraction. I wanted also that the story could be read and be relatable at any school in St. Martin. I must say I've had the privilege to teach in the South and in the North at Dutch primary school, English primary schools, and now at a French school. So that perspective made me realize that I didn't want to write something that then you'd say, oh, but it's not in French, so we can't read it here. Or, oh, it doesn't relate to this here. So I included in the book the number words. You'll find them in French, English, and in Dutch. And there's a phrase from each language in the book. It's fully translated into French. We don't have a Dutch version as yet, but if there's a Dutch speaker in here who would like to go down that road, you can let me know. The main character is actually my son Matteo, but in the story his name isn't mentioned. That way everyone can see themselves in this character. When we were deciding on the main character, my cousin gave me the idea to make the character a boy. My cousin really liked it, he's funny. Because she said, you know, boys aren't as into reading as girls, and we want to develop that boys are into reading more, so let's make the main character a boy. And I thought that was an excellent idea. Seeing that the Nature Valley Association has done such an amazing job of keeping the Johnny Cake culture alive, I decided to celebrate their members along with a few familiar faces from the neighborhood, such as Miss Vivi, who is sitting here amongst us today, who is one of the members of Nature Valley and one of the instructors for their Johnny Cake workshops. So, who are the other characters in the Johnny Cake Delivery? As I mentioned, I wanted it to feel authentic, so my first goal was to pay homage to my roots. And whenever I want authenticity to St. Martin, I run back to the place of my mother and grandmother and great-grandmother, which is right here in Colombier. I realize a lot of people don't know much about our island because we don't tell them. So people see St. Martin as a very touristy, beachy place. But when I think of St. Martin, I think of when every Sunday we had that routine to visit my great grandmother in Colombier. And how all those elders were very no-nonsense type of people. They were always trying to improve themselves, and whenever you were leaving, they would try to give you something to go back with. One day, I was reading a book for research by Neville Smith titled Memories of Gold. And in describing the St. Martin of the past, he wrote, and who could forget those folks from Colombier with trays on their heads? And when I read it instinctively, I said, oh, that was my great-grandmother, Pastor. She was one of those women. But to the outside world, they were them folks, those women from Colombier. I like that, but I also thought to myself, they have names. They weren't just women, they were individual people who had stories. So I decided at that point I would do my part to record something for my great-grandmother, my grandmother, my aunts, my great-aunts, and uncle, whose names are mentioned in the book. That, in a small way, is my way of keeping an intangible culture of Somali. So in the back of the book, you will find a write-up about those characters. This was important to me because I realized if we don't tell our stories, nobody else will. Yes, the Johnny Cake is a tangible part, something to hold on to, but sharing of resources, living in community, the celebration of family and friends, that's part of our intangible culture and what I hope to capture in a childlike way. So once the story was complete, I shared it with my team members, my cousins, Bernice Edwards, Milia Bender, and Julia Fertile, who did the translation, and my cousin Rosedelia Arnell, who did the illustrations. We began meeting regularly to discuss turning the poem and the words into the book form. I will end for now, with the quotes that I love to use when I sign my books. Readers are leaders, I believe that. A book is a gift that you can open again and again. And Romans 8:28, which says, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him and who have been called according to His purpose. Thank you. And if you see in the back of the book, you see a little orange to the flag and one plus one two because they're from Colombia, but they have to leave to develop themselves and come back to somewhere.
Okay, so your book has a character that goes through a journey.
Yes.
With John Cage.
Yes, that's what he says. We're going to make this an adventure. It's an adventure.
Okay, and as someone who likes languages, I know that you did a choice on how you wrote Johnny Cage because your character is going on a journey.
Yes.
But you chose to write it Johnny. Is there a reason why?
That is also a good question. Not a particular reason because we know that the Johnny cakes came from the word journey. So, but I felt like because culturally like, we eat instead of Johnny cakes, but the story is about going on a journey.
Yeah.
So I feel like in that way it gives homage to the Johnny cake and the journey cake side of it.
Okay, thank you. Let's go back to poems.
Okay, bring it up.
How did the village inspire you, or rather, did you find some educators or figures that inspired you to become the educator that you are today?
Also a very good question. I would say yes. And the first number one person who is my inspiration is my great grandmother because she's the oldest person in my family that I remember. I remember her in my youth, and she just laid a very strong impression on me because, first of all, I had never met anyone so old, and I remember when she was 92, and around Christmas time, I can't remember the name of the song, but there's a song that says that for children from 0 to 92, and I remember they were specifically mentioning 92, and I thought, oh, what's going to happen when she turns 93 and she's not going to get this Christmas gift? And like that's how my brain would go. But I realized that she was someone people had a lot of respect for. She was always like encouraging and motivating when it comes to church. Like my family is very involved in the Methodist church. And when I didn't fully realize it at that time. But when I think back on it and realize this person was born in 1899, so she was born free. But she didn't have the same education, the same opportunities But she did so much in the church. They told me about the roles that she played and how like the Methodist church was really a way of developing people back in those days. My mother always says like that's how her English language developed because they were French in school, but when you were in the Methodist church, you had to say the recitations, you had to do this, so it really developed you as a person. And that this lady did not have what we consider a formal education, but I saw what she put into all her children. So all her children and her and our generation, I think that we took that from her, that we're supposed to be moving ourselves upward, we're supposed to be better. Like you're not less than anybody because you're from Colombier, you know? So she was just a strong woman, and the more I thought about that, that motivated me to be the teacher that I am today, to think about every equality. Yeah.
On that topic, what are the key values that you push forward as a teacher that you might have received from your village, from your Colombian people?
I think respect is very important because, like I said, there were no nonsense people. Like they didn't play around a lot, so you have to. Even I think now our generation, the generations now they have it so much easier. Now it's like when we go to church, we couldn't move. We just had to sit there and like now the children is like, give us a phone, give us a like we couldn't do that, and there were no questions anything about this. So I get a little bit of that too, but I have to balance it because sometimes I'm like, okay, I have to understand people coming from different backgrounds and different abilities, but we were taught that this is the way you need to be, this is the way you need to be. But also appreciating people's differences, like not everyone comes from the same background, economic-wise, or their ability-wise, and something that really sticks out to me as a teacher is understanding their different intelligences. So I am somebody who's very verbal linguistic. I love to write, I love to read, I love things that have to do with language. But there are children who are very art smart. They love to draw, they love to paint. There are children who are good with dance and movement. There are children who are good with math. And I think it's a shame in our society that sometimes we only think of one type of intelligence as being smart, when all of them are intelligent, but just in a different way. But sometimes they don't get the opportunity to display their intelligence. Or like, art and sports is seen as, oh, okay, that's good. But they're just as valuable. Everything in the community is valuable.
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree with you that we tend to emphasize certain types of intelligence when in reality there's a variety. And
it was chilling. It was chilling. So I'm not surprised. God bless you. Continue your success. And pray God
Good afternoon, everyone. Congrats, Greta.
Thank you.
And I could identify with your Johnny cake delivery. When I was a boy, I used to have to do milk delivery. Growing up in these, when every morning you get up and you have to carry your milk to various people. So just what Matthew is doing, that brings me back to my childhood. And yeah, I'm very, very proud of you.
Thank you, then. And I would also want to say thank you to Steffi, who has been an amazing host and moderator for this afternoon. I think she did a great job.
I think that the parents had wonderful concluding words, so I'm not going to keep you much longer. Enjoy the afternoon. I think we have a program going on.
Yes, next up we're
Stick
going to have some
around.
children doing the Johnny Cake workshop. Yes, so at this time, we're going to get ready to set up for the workshop for the children who are going to be doing the Johnny Cake workshop. If you would like to purchase a book, I will be at the desk over here. And I'm going to read after it. Yeah, in the middle of the Johnny Cake workshop, I will be doing a reading of the Johnny Cake delivery, if you would like to stay around for that.
Of course they want to.
Oh yes, we have snacks on sale if you would like to get, and we have a complimentary drink if you didn't already get, or a complimentary drink and a complimentary Johnny Cake, especially for those who just arrived. So feel free to do so. I've covered everything. Thank you once again to everyone.
Congratulations.
About the Johnny Cake Bakery, and today you're going to be making your own Johnny cakes. Is everyone okay with that? Are you ready? Ok, moi je dépose mon micro parce que j'ai besoin de me mettre à parler. Under your board, turn over the board, retournez le board. Donc sur le board, vous avez de la farine. Gladys, who lives just next door. 9 round Johnny cakes wrapped in shiny foil. The next one is for Madame Rose, who likes it with eggs boiled. Okay, guys, so we started with 10. We've already given 1 Johnny cake, we're down to 9. How many Johnny cakes are there left? 9. Well, we have 9. He's given 1 to Miss Rose, so how many are going to be left? 8. Okay. Turn the page for me, Matthias.
Okay, who is that here?
She's not here. 8 Johnny cakes. I like mine fried the best. This one's for Lillian Justine as she awaits from her rest.
How did it go, Matthias?
It went well.
It went great. See you for the next one.
Bye.
I am with the main character of the Johnny Cake Delivery. We did it. What did you think of the book launch?
It was great.
It was great. What was your favorite part?
About the whole, they were talking about me.
You talking about you? You hear about that?
Unless, about the book though, they read the book.
Oh, okay. Okay. Great. Bye. So, welcome back to another episode of Linguistic Isle. Today, I'm here to talk to you about my book, The Johnny Cake Delivery. The Johnny Cake Delivery is a math subtraction story based in Colombier, St. Martin. I wrote this story because as a teacher, I felt there was a lack of stories written about the St. Martin experience. So through this story, I wanted to share a little bit of St. Martin's culture. I wanted to pay homage to my great grandmother, my great aunts, and my grandmother, and to the village of Colombier, which is where we are all from, and which I feel is a place in St. Martin that retains the culture and history of the past. So yesterday was the official launch, and we started with a book discussion, which was moderated by Steffi Gums. I think she did a great job of asking me questions that really made me get to the heart of why I wrote the book and the impact that I would like for this book to have on education in St. Martin. This was followed by a Johnny Cake workshop where the kids were able to prepare the dough for the Johnny Cake. In case you don't know, Johnny Cake is a bread, a fried bread that used to be called actually a journey cake because it was what people used to eat before going on a long day's work. And over time, the name changed from journey cake to Johnny Cake. You can find it in other islands as well too. Sometimes other names like bake, but in St. Martin we call it Johnny Cake. So the kids were actually able to do the full workshop, make the dough and fry their Johnny cakes, and then take the rest of their dough home with them. While the dough was setting, I did a reading of the book. So I think it was a very full day. It was colorful. We were in Colombier, which has like just a beautiful quiet vibe to it, away from the city, a lot of hills, a lot of greenery. And we had a play area where the children could play and, relax a bit as well too. So all in all, for me, I thought the day was a success. It was exactly what we envisioned for it to be, and I'm just so grateful that the village came out. That had the help of family and friend to support this initiative. So, because I'm taking a reflection, I had to ask myself, is there anything else I would change from yesterday's launch? And I don't think there's anything I would change, it's just what I would add to. And one of the things I would have added was probably doing some of my poetry, because from the discussion, some questions came about, and I ended up discussing poetry that I've done. And I realized that would have been a great opportunity to share that poetry as well. All in all, it was a beautiful moment. As I said, I wouldn't change anything, I would just add to. I'm here doing this recording, and I realized I didn't have quite a plan. So I hope by the time I try to put the footage together, it will come together in a way that is logical and that makes sense. But overall, I'm very excited about it. I hope that it encourages somebody, because I was sharing as I told my process for getting the Johnny Cake delivery together, is that as a teacher, I think I've moved from the stage of seeing problems to wanting to be a solution to the problems. And for me, the way I would like to impact education in St. Martin is by expanding the children's literature catalog, because I realize that we don't have books that are about us. I have to give a shout out to organizations like House of Nehesi that publishes literature and has been doing that. And I think we just need more. We just need more. We need for different age groups. We need in different categories: fiction, non-fiction, picture books, chapter books. Like, it just needs to be a whole thing. And St. Martin is small. It's not that we need to also do it by ourselves, because in our region we have a shared culture and shared history, especially among the smaller islands. And it would be great for us to collaborate and work together on stuff like that, to expand this catalog together, because together we get a broader, richer history of who we are as a people. There's a phrase my husband uses a lot. It's an African proverb which says, if you want to go somewhere, um, if you want to go somewhere fast, then you go by yourself. But if you want to go the long haul, then you go together. So it's good to have people who are working with you, and it becomes a stronger force when we work together. So I guess I should end by saying where you can find the book. So the book is currently available at Wandorp if you are on island, and online at lulu.com. That's lulu.com. And there is an online bookstore, and you can search the Johnny Cake Delivery and you can find it in English and in French. So I hope this was an informative episode of the Linguistic Isle, and that you will stay tuned to find out what's going on next with me in my island or on my island of Saint Martin. Absolute. Bye. I want to give a shout out and thank you to a lot of people that supported us. I have a fear of forgetting someone, but I'm going to do this recording just in case. I want to give thanks to the whole team of Les Pépis that supported us on this big project, and we worked together. And that those are my cousins: Venicia, Bernice, Milia, Darren, Nico, Jada, Chenilia from afar, my husband. He's been super, super supportive and helped so much because he was the one actually who kept asking me, when are you going to write a book? When is your book coming out? And I remember telling him, oh, but I need help with the illustrations. I don't know how to do the illustrations. And he told me, well, just write something that doesn't need illustrations and figure it out. And that encouraged me to do my first book, Conversations from COVID. And after going through that experience, it helped me to produce the Johnny Cake delivery. So that's also advice I would give to anyone. Sometimes you just have to start. I think I was in a long time in a loop of knowing I want to do something, but not going beyond that because sometimes you have a perfectionist syndrome. You want something to be this. You keep doubting yourself, second guessing yourself. But sometimes to get to the next level where you want to get at, you just have to start. And then you can start and then you can make adjustments from there. Because now at least you have something tangible. People know that you're not just thinking about doing something, you're actually doing it. So with that in mind, I want to thank Rose Delia Arnell, my cousin, and she has a platform, Delia Digital. Hopefully, I'll put it down there if I didn't say it correct. And she does digital artwork, a lot of things about St. Martin. So it was like the perfect combination. Um, my cousin Leticia Brookson, she did helped us with snack boxes. Also, you'll get her correct business name. And my cousin had one of her cousins who helped us with the games. So we had a beautiful outdoor setting with games for the children to play. We had people who donated water, um, snacks. It just takes so much to get something like that accomplished. You cannot do it alone. So it really, that expression, it takes a village. It takes a village. My parents, they provided a complimentary drink, the fruit punch, and we all did our parts and worked together. My friend Patchy, at the last one, I asked her, hey, can you be the opening host? Reverend Intias for the invocation. Like I said, afraid I'm gonna forget somebody, but everybody who came out most of all, because I always say you could choose to be anywhere, but they chose to spend the afternoon with us, and I don't take it for granted. We had representatives from the library on the Dutch side and from the library, the school libraries on the French side. They came out. I had teachers. I had people in administration from schools, and people from the church, especially Kobe Methodist Church. They really came out to support. Um, Family. I had my Gibbs family, my just everyone who could. They showed support. I had my friend Michelle sent me a prayer in the morning. My friends who couldn't make it because of Sabbath. I know that their heart was with me. Even if they couldn't make it, people shared the post, and that meant a lot. So shout outs to everybody. Hi. Okay, check in notes because I'm hoping that I recorded everything, but I'm so grateful and so full. Thank you.